Well, good morning.
Good morning.
So, as you see, we went and we picked up our soffit and fascia.
Yep.
And Levi already got some of it painted, which was really cool yesterday. And we have our first sheet of OSB ready to go up for the valley area.
Yeah, so we first have to put this bottom sheet off that we kind of purposely left off of the house and the garage, kind of basically all four corners of the dog trot. So we're gonna fill that in because our valley needs to sit on top of something. So we gotta put some plywood underneath there, and then we can start framing our valley rafters.
So far, so good. Look at you. It could be pushed this way a little bit, up at the top.
Totally wrong there.
Why?
Because it needs to go right here.
Oh. So you should have measured a little lower.
So what it needed to be was way over to here, not to there.
Okay.
It needed to be to here.
All right, back to the drawing board.
Okay, so our mistake that we made up there was this spot right here. And we measured over 49.5 where the truss intersects with that valley framing that I made. But what it needed to do is it needed to carry through to the other side of the truss. So the truss kind of goes like that across there. So we just have to add some. Luckily for us, we can use that piece on the side of the house. So the same if you kind of were to mirror this onto the house. So that's a little bit smaller than it, so it's perfect for that. We'll have to cut off like 5 or 6 inches of that valley part and it'll work perfect. So we'll go ahead and just cut a new one and hopefully it works.
Well, that's more better.
Okay, that's more better. All right.
That looks good.
Tricky part's going to be to get these in there.
Second time was the charm. Looks really nice.
All right, first one's done. We got 3 more to do.
Nice.
Okay, so the next thing we need to do is figure out where the center of this truss is on the dog trot. And we're gonna measure off of one end of this garage to where the center of this truss is, and then I could transfer that mark up to the top of where the ridge beam is gonna hit this roof. And that's how I know I'm gonna get center and square off of this truss that we have for the dog trot. So with these trusses, it's really easy to find center because obviously they come together at the top right there. So we can just plumb this down. And then I can go ahead and clamp this level right to the truss. And then I can measure off the building, find where center is, transfer it up there. Okay, I went and grabbed Fred. He's gonna help me hold this bridge beam up. So what the first thing is we're gonna do is, with Fred being 1.5 inches, what I need to do is, this is where this ridge beam is gonna sit forever, you know, and what you wanna do is, you wanna make sure that the edge of this beam is lined up with the truss. You don't want it to the very peak here. So what we're gonna do is use Fred as a guide here, trace a line, and that way I know right where 1.5 inches is gonna be, and I can go ahead and have these 2 marks knowing where Fred needs to be screwed onto. And what Fred's gonna do is hold this beam up while I level it over to the roof that you guys are sitting on right now. So we're gonna go ahead and just get this up here.
You have one you have in mind?
Just a nice straight one. They're all nice.
One thing I could hit, and I hit it.
Around it. All right. Right there is perfect. All right, so now that we have our board up here, this is leveled over from the top of the truss, so I know right where the tip of this ridge beam needs to be. So now I'm just gonna measure my 267 that we measured earlier, which is the center of that truss over there. And now I know this is gonna be perfectly, I should go like this. So right there is going to be where the tip of this ridge beam needs to be. Okay, we got our ridge beam down here on the table. The end that touches the truss that's up there is just going to be a square cut, but this end that actually sits on the roof of the garage needs to be the angle or the pitch of the garage. So the garage is a 612, but you can't put a 612 on here with your speed square because that would be too sharp of an angle. There's two, this is confusing, but there's two versions of an angle. There's a long and a short. I need the long of the 612, and the way we figure that out is you take a framing square and you line up these numbers on the sides are just like corresponding of a tape measure. And what you do is, to get the long of a 612, you have this side, you line up the 6, So we're going to use this outside edge of the square, and you use the 12 on this side. So you line up a 6/12, and you line that up on our mark. We know our mark is right there. I transferred it up from the bottom, so you want to be on the top of the board. And so we're just going to line up the 6/12, line it up with our board right there, and then put a mark. And that is the long of a 6/12. A little bit shorter. And that is the long of a 6/12. We'll cut that off and we'll bring it up there.
It's so heavy. Here. Looks good.
Perfect.
All right, so now that we have, what is it called again?
Ridge beam.
I've had to ask him that like, I don't know, 6 times today. So now that we have the ridge beam installed, we are going to go ahead and get our plates installed for our valley rafters. So you know how we love repurposing lumber around here, and we are actually gonna use our lumber that we used for all the temporary bracing for the trusses. So Levi is working on getting all the screws out of there, and then we will cut them to size.
Yeah, they're basically going to be 16 feet long, so these are 8-foot boards.
Okay.
So we can just use one. We're just going to cut a
Like an angle.
42-degree angle on the front so that it can meet that valley, or meet that ridge beam perfect, and we'll nail it in, and we'll just nail it down to all the trusses on the way down.
Awesome.
Okay, so now that we have the ridge beam laid out, we could go ahead and lay out this plate that's in the valley. So all I'm going to do is just hook onto a truss and mark our 2-foot center, and we will work our way up. 127 and an 8. Okay, so we have our rafter sitting up here, and I went ahead and cut a 5/12 on the front of that. That's going to go onto our ridge beam. On the bottom of the rafter is a little bit different. This is a long 5/12, so I don't know if a lot of you guys know this or not, but some of these speed squares have a conversion table that tells you whatever the common rafter is, what degree it's going to be. So that's important for my skill saw, because what I need to do is I need to put a long 5/12 angle on here, but I need to rip a bevel on the bottom of this board, and I need to have that bevel be a 6/12. And so by using this gauge, I know a 6/12 is going to be 26.5 degrees. So I can go ahead and set my skill saw bevel at 26.5 degrees. And these Makitas are beautiful, awesome saws, but this is their downfall, is that they don't have like an actual measurement gauge on here. They just go by fives. So I'm kind of guesstimating that that's about 26. So here we have 15, 20, 25, like 26.5 degrees. So that's the bevel, and I'm going to go ahead and rip this on the board, and then we'll throw it up there. All right, that went pretty good. Nice and straight, on our line. So now we just got three more to do on this side, and then we'll do the exact same thing on this side.
Mr. Man. Can you say hi? Smile. No? All right, the first side is done. So now we're gonna go ahead and do the other 3 valleys, and then we can start sheeting the roof. Well, good morning. So it is the next day. Yesterday took us a little bit longer to get the whole garage done just because there's a lot of like making sure measurements are correct and then getting back down and cutting and then going back up. So we didn't show much of that. We did show the finished product. And then today we are gonna finish up the side on the house. So Levi already got all the plates down, double checked all of his measurements, and we're gonna start installing all of those valley rafters.
I got this side done. Looks really good. We're able to use some scraps too at the top here, which was really cool. I didn't even have to cut the long angle, so I think we're ready for sheeting. $28 1/8.
You took my block. It's right here. Oh gosh.
I think it's right here.
Yeah, okay. Does that look kind of right?
Yeah, 80 and 5/8.
I can't see it. Okay.
All right, so we have our 2 full sheets at the bottom and we put 1 in the middle on the next row, and that way we know where to measure from to get to the valley. So we're gonna fill in the bottom corners of the first 2 sheets we put up. So Tanya's just drawing little diagrams of what we're doing and writing down the measurements, and that way I know when I come down here how they're supposed to look. And then this one, 20. Ooh. I'm really hoping to get everything out of this one sheet.
No.
Tanya, you're drawing.
Yeah, you cut it wrong.
Does it go to the other side? Tanya.
No, because that one's too small. Is that where it goes?
Yeah. Goes to this side.
So, you just read my drawing wrong.
All right, so we have all of our full sheets on that side done. Now we're gonna go ahead and rip our top sheet to go up there. I think it's measured 42 on both sides, so we'll rip it 41, so we have a 1-inch vent at the top, and then we'll be able to jump onto this side.
Yeah, we just have also this little
Yep, a little triangle to fill in the valley, and then we'll have a couple more cuts on each side of those 3 full sheets. But we should be able to put 3 full sheets up there, ripped to 41, and then we can figure out our corners, our last pieces.
Cool. Only 52. We have 1/2 of the dog trot done. Yes, it is definitely taking much longer than I anticipated. I wasn't thinking about all the angles that we have to cut, so half the day is gone, but we're definitely going to be able to get the other half done before the end of today.
Yeah, our goal was to get this done and to start the fascia, but I don't think we're going to get to the fascia today. We have it all painted one time, but we really want to paint it twice, so it might be a late night for us to see if we can paint that one more time real quick. But we have enough sheets. We counted them up. Since we're halfway, we know exactly how much it's going to take to do the other half.
We actually have 5 extra sheets, so if we make a mistake, we're good. We don't have to go anywhere to grab stuff.
Yeah.
We have moved the cut station into the dog trot, which is wonderful. I mean, you can see we are very shaded,
so nice.
and it is, it makes me so excited for this space.
Yeah.
Once the house is finished and even before, I mean, we can come and sit out here in the shade and be, you know, able to just like relax and watch all the wildlife and stuff. So,
we got our first sheet up here. We already measured the angle for cutting the valley, so let's cut this and put it up.
Yeah. Got it?
Yep.
I always forget that the crossbar is there for the scaffolding. Ooh, that looks pretty. Did I wake you up? Hmm? You don't have to get ours. All right, so we got all of the really kind of big sheets up. We have 6 more pieces to put up there, 2 kind of big ones and 4 little triangles. So you can see up the valley on that side. And then, I don't know, you guys might not be able to. And then the valley up on that side. The wind has just really picked up. It's making it much more difficult to hold on to the sheets, but we're so excited to be at this point where we're almost finished. And the nice thing is that we've been able to use like a couple of miscuts, and now we can use them in these other areas, which is awesome. And then all the angles that we cut off, we just put off to the side, and then we use those for our little triangles. And I don't know if you can read, like I have a lot of different measurements on here so that when Levi comes down, he knows how to cut it.
Oh, yeah, I've learned that the hard way. It's nice to have a picture of what you're trying to cut out of a sheet, because if you're working over there and you come over here to your cut station, you're not always thinking the right way. So it's nice to have a little diagram to go by.
And then FedEx just delivered Ryder's dog food, and I think the guy got super scared because Ryder is the homestead protector, and he was barking at the guy, and the guy kept trying to get out, and then Ryder would start barking again, and he'd get back in the truck. I feel really bad, but you know, Ryder's doing his job.
It's his job. Don't mess with it.
So it's this one right here.
4 and 38.
And then 75.5. Ooh, just barely, huh? Pretty good. How many times have we done that today? Alright, you guys, this is hopefully the last sheet of OSB we will ever have to do, at least for the roof. Not to fall. Ah, this is awesome. We still obviously have to nail all these down, but we are definitely done for the day.